Your partner or your woman doesn't want a child. They want a man. They're not looking to be someone they have to pick up after. They're not looking for that person. And the clothes on the floor is just a reflection of all the other areas of your life. It's not the organization that you have to be anal and you have to fold everything and what have you, but it's how you treat your environment, especially when you're with somebody else. And if you have expectations of them cleaning up after you, is a direct reflection of your expectations of your life. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Powerful Man Show. I am your host, Doug Holt, with my co-host, Tim, the Powerful Man Matthews. Tim, how's it going, brother?
Awesome. Quick question for you.
Yep.
What went through your mind when you said Tim, the Powerful Man Matthews?
I was actually picturing, I think it's called WWE now, the Wrestling Federation. We actually had a guy in the Brotherhood who was a professional wrestler. But I was picturing the turnbuckle they have and the ropes, and I was picturing a big guy coming in. I was actually picturing a blonde, not you, but coming in with these big mountain guys from like the 80s walking into the arena.
I love it.
Next episode, everybody can listen in. I'll give you my best announcer voice. Just remind me. I'll make sure I do that. So, Tim, this episode, what I want to talk about is, and I alluded to it in the previous one, but what does picking up your clothes have to do with being a man?
I know exactly where this. Well, I think I know exactly where this is going. I've been guilty of this in the past.
Well, why don't you tell me your thoughts, and then I can maybe it'll go a different direction.
I'm going to be totally honest here. I'm looking at a t-shirt on the floor right now as well. Listen, I'm not perfect. I'm on a journey too. I'm a human being. I figured a few things out, but I'm on the path as well.
You definitely are. You're ahead of most people, my friend. That is clear. That is
despite clear. The t-shirt that is staring at me. I'm picking it up right now. Right there.
So, Tim, while you're picking up your t-shirt, and I know you're laughing because you and I have actually talked about this. I'm going to take you back to another story where I shared this. So I'm in Colombia, and maybe I think I've shared this with you. And we're coming in from ceremony. So we're in Colombia, coming from Brazil. We're doing medicine, so to speak. And we're doing ceremony with a shaman. And I come in with the room with the guy that I'm sharing the room with. And he's about 1-2 years younger than I am. And we walk in our room, and I go to my bed, and he goes to his. And on the way to his, and it's an open plan, so if you can imagine, just a big room with 2 beds, and separated like on the opposite ends. And he just stops and looks at me, looks at my bed, and then goes, "Wow." Pauses just like that. I'm like, "What's going on?" We're doing a lot. We're going through a big experience here, so I'm not sure. And he's like, "Look at your side of the room and look at mine." And the realization that he got out of it, and this is something I got because I do the same thing, Tim. I got clothes lying around, not here, but I have before, and I throw my clothes off pretty quickly. The realization he got was he was being a boy, right? He was being a boy in his life. His side of the room, the clothes were thrown everywhere. He had shoes. There was mud. There was dirt from the outside. And my side of the room, and it's probably because I'm a little on the anal side when it comes to, it was organized. My clothes were folded. They were hanging up, right? Everything was fresh. I knew I had a dirty pile of clothes in a bag and a clean pile. And the realization he got here, and immediately he turned, we're exhausted, by the way, and started cleaning up the room. And he went to town for probably about an hour. I mean, that's how messy his side was in his eyes. Now, fast forward to 2 weeks ago, I was visiting him, right? And this experience happened 2 years ago. I was visiting him. His place was immaculate, absolutely immaculate. That one insight, and I'm going to expand upon that, but that one insight completely changed his life.
Yeah, but what you don't know is that he cleaned it up half an hour before you got there.
Probably did. No, I happen to know this person really well now, especially after that experience. And it's just a paradigm shift. And the question we talk about is, what does picking up your clothes off the floor have to do with being a man? And, what I'll say is I'll throw out there, and then I want to get into your story because you and I have talked about it a little bit. And it's without judgment here. We're just sharing our lives so that other men can benefit from our misfortunes, maybe, or happenings or our insights. But what you realize, especially in an intimate relationship, and we hear about this from men, as they age and they grow with a woman, right, things start to shift and change. And oftentimes these changes can lead to one partner leaving. The typical story we hear in our society, right, is people get married, the man gets kind of fat and lazy, sits on the couch, watches TV. The wife starts going to the gym all of a sudden, gets in shape. Next thing you know, she leaves, right? She's out the door. She's met another man. She's moved on. The guy's like, how could she do this? I never saw it coming, et cetera, et cetera. Well, it's the same thing, right? Your partner or your woman doesn't want a child. They want a man, right? They're not looking to be with somebody who's going to pick up after them, right? They're not looking to be with someone, or they have to pick up after, I should say. They're not looking for that person. And the clothes on the floor is just a reflection of all the other areas of your life, right? It's not the organization that you have to be anal and you have to fold everything and what have you, but it's how you treat your environment, especially when you're with somebody else. And if you have expectations of them cleaning up after you, is a direct reflection of your expectations of your life and your expectations of other people to take care of you. You know, are you expecting, do you have your partner, your wife, your lover, whoever it may be, do you have them in your life, and are you expecting them to pick up your clothes, right? Do your dishes? That's not a partner. That's either a maid or a mother. And guys, I'll ask you this question that are listening to this is, have you made, in your own mind, right? Have you made your lover, your partner, whoever it is in your life, your mother rather than your sexy lover, right? What is that difference? Imagine that. Because if you've made her your mother, she is looking at you like her son and not like this sexy, masculine man that you are. You just become a boy. And that's a big difference.
Yep. Yep. And I was definitely guilty of this. I
think we all have been.
I mean, yeah, in my previous relationship, I was more guilty of this in the earlier stages with Amelia. And I had the realization, I can't remember exactly when it was or what I was doing, but it might have been after a conversation with you, or I don't know. But anyway, the point being is, I can remember looking around my room and I just thought, what the hell am I doing? I'm like, and when I say my room, it's our room. I'm even talking like a little boy. It's our bedroom, Amelia's and I's, and mine. And there was, it wasn't crazy. There was just a few clothes here and there. But it was almost like a sense of entitlement. And the excuse that I used to tell myself was that I was too busy, or, which it does have some truth in it. I'm very protective and intentional about how I use my energy. But the reality is that if, it's not worth my time and energy to pick those clothes up, then I get to pay somebody to do it who does enjoy doing it instead of me, rather than using the excuse that I'm too busy and allowing those clothes to stay down there. Because what I realized was exactly what you just said. I'm like, oh my God, Amelia does not want to have sex with a boy. It's not attractive to, be in a relationship, either A, with a sense of entitlement because I'm the one that, brings home the bacon, so to speak, or two, with the mentality of keeping score. Oh, well, I cooked dinner last night and I worked until this time and she's only done that one thing, so she owes me a point. So she should do that for me. Now that's just not healthy at all. It's, again, we speak about it so often about taking care of your side of the street, and I see it so often in Amelia when I just quietly get on with my own business. Let's say I'm wanting to change a habit. So let's say I'm wanting to change my diet. It'd be an easy one. And Amelia's, she's in great shape. She's one of those fortunate ones who, she's got a great balance in terms of exercise and diet and so on. Whereas I'm a little bit more sensitive to certain foods. So I like to be more mindful of what I eat, and I'll try certain diets, and I'll try different things within my diet. And, after a while of doing it and being consistent and doing it without validation, needing validation, or doing it without the need to prove or keeping score, or hey, look at me, look at how good I am, and so on, then Amelia will say something to me like, ooh, I might try that. How's that going? Ooh, I want to do that too. Ooh, because she's seen me leading and she's seen the result and impact it's having on me and my energy and my mood and my life. And it's become attractive to her. I'm being the man. I'm being the leader. The same goes for picking up my clothes. The same goes for keeping my room tidy, the office tidy, or my side of the room tidy, or whatever it is, or going downstairs and just doing the dishes or emptying the dishwasher, or, I'm usually the one that cooks for us, and that's fine. I love cooking for us. But, I don't do it to keep score. I don't do it to then have one up on her so she owes me one. But yeah, the realization of this quite some time ago was huge for me. Like, oh my God, I'm making her my mother, not my lover. Like, what the hell? Oh, it was so huge. Obviously, I'm still learning and still being reminded of things. I've just picked a t-shirt up off the floor, but I'm much further ahead, much further ahead than I was before. Much further.
Well, I mean, and that's a huge point there too, Tim. We'll come back to the clothes on the floor, but something that you're great at is you surround yourself with the right people, you have the right conversations, and you're constantly growing. It's that old Brian, Tracy quote that I'm sure he got from somebody else, but you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. For someone that's listening to this, you have Tim and I right now in your ear, so you got 2 of your 5. But you do a great job. You're always around the guys in the powerful man movement, and so am I. So we're constantly around men playing at a very high level, and all of us are on our journey and we continue to up level, and that's okay. That's perfect, in fact. But for the guys listening to this, if you're like Tim and myself, right? Because I'm looking around my office right now, which I'm in, and looking at things that could be tidier and picked up. But guys, if you're listening to this and you're in your car, you're driving to work, you're at the gym, you're at home, wherever you may be, look around your environment. And, what is that environment as a reflection of you? Is it chaotic, right? But more importantly, I think in this conversation, or the context of this conversation, is if you're in an intimate relationship, and if you're not and you want to be in one, are you making your lover your mom? And I know that sounds so weird and probably disgusting to most of you, but that's really what it is. And is that sexy to her? I mean, do you want to be seen as sexy? Do you want to be your wife's or your lover's, basically their sex god, so to speak? And if you do, then why are you making her your mom? Hey guys, I want to interrupt this episode because I want to talk to you about something important. We put together a case study on how almost 300 men have taken control of their lives. They're 4xing their business revenues, and they're having more connected and intimate sex, all without sacrificing their relationships or their health by using the activation method. Now, a lot of you have contacted us and you want to know how they're doing it. We put together this short 11-minute case study just for you, so you can see how these entrepreneurs are achieving this level of success. To get this case study, all you have to do is go over to thepowerfulman.com/11. Yep, that's 11. And you can get the case study right now. All right, it's only 11 minutes and it's going to show you exactly how these men have done it. All right, let's get back to the episode.
Yeah, and I think it's a generational thing as well, isn't it? Because if I think about my parents, the role that they played was the father, the role in society then as well, a generation ago or 2 generations ago, in society, it was very much the man would go out to work, the woman would stay home, she'd cook, she'd clean, his dinner would be, ready for him on the table. And it was like she was his mother in a lot of respects. And we're in a different time, we're in a different age. And I think the similarities there in a lot of the men that we speak with at the beginning is that because they run successful businesses and they work a lot of hours, they have a lot of demands on their time, then what happens is they often come home unable to switch off, bringing the problems from work home with them. So they have less energy to take into their marriage or relationship, which they then use as an excuse and validation for why it's okay for their wife to do those things for them, pick up after them, cook for them, clean for them, so on and so forth. But that's where over time it slowly erodes the relationship and changes the dynamic of the relationship from husband to wife and lover to lover to mother to son, quite honestly. And it's definitely not the dynamic that the woman aspires for or finds attractive. I think for most guys, it's guys, quite honestly, I think a lot of guys can just plod along with that. I think they don't want to settle there, but a lot of men that I've spoken to can kind of, some of them numb it with porn and alcohol and things like that, but for the most part, they can plod along with that and just settle because that has been the norm that they have seen from their fathers and grandfathers and so on. But like I say, we're in a different time. There's a different way that men operate by, that obviously within the powerful man, and there's a different way. And it's a different time. Like I say, women have been very empowered over the past 10, 20 years. They really require something different. And in the rise of the feminine, what then happens, it then creates a gap between the masculine and the feminine that the masculine then gets to rise into. And part of that rise is this what we're speaking about. It really is, letting go of that, those excuses of being tired or entitled or whatever. Because the longer you allow yourself to use those, the more it's going to impact the relationship. It really, really does.
Yeah. And so, Tim, let me ask you this question. If I can, I'm trying not to, because we're recording this, not to get too grotesque or personal. But for you and Amelia, would you rather her, make love to you, go down on you, whatever? Would you rather her do that as a sense of obligation, as that's her duty as your partner? Or would you rather her do it as a sense of intense desire for you?
Oh my God. Come on. I'm not even going to answer that. It's obligation, Doug. No, of course it's desire, Of course it is. Of course it's desire.
So and every man's saying this right now, right? I mean, they have expectations. We all do. That's human nature. But we want that passionate desire from our partner. We want our partner to look at us and want to eat us alive like we're the only man around, right? Isn't that the best thing ever? That feeling of that intense desire. Now, here's a conversation I had with a woman, Tim. This is a while ago, but it stuck with me. And she was talking about her partner. And what she was saying was, she's like, look, here's the deal. I don't want to feel like I have to cook, then clean, then scrub the floors and do the laundry. And then all of a sudden it'd be expected to be all wet and hot and bothered and want to go down on them. Right? I don't want to go down on them. I'm not going to be ready for that. That's not me. I need transition time. And she was saying she didn't mind doing the things around the house. It was the expectation and the energy around that was the change. You know what I'm saying? The whole desire that she had for her partner. And she had lost complete desire. And the reason we were having this conversation is she had actually looked elsewhere, not me, but looked elsewhere outside of her marriage and relationship to find the fulfillment and the desire. And she was finding that for other men, right? She was fulfilling that, and she wasn't doing it from her husband. She felt like a maid in the house that she lived in. Like that was the expectation. Wow. So of course she's not going to be horny and really want to have passionate sex or anything like that. She did, like she had sex with her husband, right? But she felt as if she did it out of complete obligation. And all too often men, this is a warning sign for you guys, all too often guys are oblivious to this. For some reason, it's like our receptors turn on. As long as we're getting laid, the receptor turns off somehow, some way, unless you experience the other side of that. And that's the passion. You get that, you want to be the object of immense desire from your woman. And if that's you and you're listening to this and you're like, yeah, I'm like Tim, heck yeah, I want crazy desire. I want to be the king of my home. I want to be the master of my domain. I want my woman to look at me like this is the only man in my world. Well, you got to start acting like a man. You got to start by picking up your clothes, make your bed, do your own friggin' dishes, guys. Come on. Do the basics around your house and give the feminine energy, the freedom to thrive. At the end of the day, Tim, right? So, and this is something that comes up with the guys, and we talked about this previously, and I'll bring this back. But I was talking to a guy who was complaining, and he was like, I got to do my dishes, and I do the laundry, and I'm working. He's like, Doug, this is ridiculous. My marriage isn't working out. And I asked him, I was like, okay, so you're thinking about leaving, because you feel like you're doing too much. Oh yeah, Doug, exactly. I have to do the laundry, the dishes, and I'm working. It's ridiculous. I'm like, okay. So when you leave the relationship, are you going to be doing laundry and dishes? Silence. Exactly. You're still going to be doing it. So the only thing you're complaining about is you're in a relationship with somebody that you at least once loved immensely, and you feel like all of a sudden you have to do your part. That's the reality of the situation here.
Yeah, and last night, obviously we're away right now, and yesterday, as you know, I had a marketing meeting with the team, didn't I? I was on there for a few hours, and afterwards, I did something afterwards as well. But anyway, point being is I had this block of time in the afternoon whereby I was really focused on getting stuff done in the Powerful Man. After that, I went and spent some time with Amelia, and then I started cooking, and it was about 9 o'clock. Oh, we went for a walk first, and then I came back and I prepared all the food, I did all the juicing. So we've got some juice here that we've been drinking today, and then I started to cook, and I was sorting some other things out that then got brought to my attention. And I can remember being in the kitchen. I was stood there, and I was like, and I could hear Amelia laughing to a film she was watching. I was like, what the fuck? I've worked all day. I've done this, and now I'm preparing the juice. I've just done the juicing. I'm like, fuck. Like, Amelia, do you want to come in and help me? But I told her, afterwards, I was like, you know what? I just invited you in. Well, I didn't invite her. Well, I did invite her in, but internally, I was definitely not inviting her. Although the language was an invitation. But I told her, I was like, look, I was getting a bit frustrated because I was like, I'm playing this story in my head that I've done all this stuff, and you just sat there laughing and, keeping score. And point being here is twofold. One, the previous podcast episode we shared about conscious communication, basically, is so important to be able to, be that leader and be that man and object of desire, basically, so you can catch yourself when these patterns are playing out, because they are going to play out. They just are. You're not perfect. You're a human being. You're always going to be improving. They're always going to play out. It's not the absence of the pattern that's the key here, in my opinion. It's the frequency of the pattern and how fast you can catch it. Ideally, the pattern will play out less and less and less, and when it does, you're able to catch it quicker and quicker and quicker. So it's not the absence of it, it's the catching of it and the frequency. And the second thing here is, right now, I've decided we are getting a cleaner. I've been saying it to Amelia for weeks. Oh, let's just get a cleaner. Let's just get a cleaner. Because I get this. I can see my stuff on the floor, and I don't want to pick it up either. I do, but then other times I just don't want to, because, I'd rather do the stuff with my time with Amelia. But I also know the subconscious effect of this. And every time she's like, oh, do we really need one? We don't need one. Listen, if I'm going to invest, let's say £200 a month, I'll happily pay out of my personal money. That is a great investment to, on a cleaner, to the ROI that will give us with the injection of space and energy back into the relationship that we can choose to spend on us would be huge. It's only a tiny, tiny thing, but I know the impact of that will pay dividends. It really will. So after the podcast, after this, I'm going to speak to Amelia about it again. I think I'm just going to take the lead on it. And I'll just try. Let's trial one, Amelia. Let's just try it for a month. I'm sure she'll love
it. Listen here. Look, guys, you want access to Tim? I mean, people pay top dollar for access to Tim. You can come over and clean his toilets, and he'll even pay you. So,
yep.
You might get a couple people applying for this right now. What you're saying is so true. And I want to be clear, crystal clear. This is not giving in, right? We're not saying by any means lower your standards. We're not saying by any means just be a servant or let yourself be pushed on or put down. No. We're not saying that at all. I think simply what we're saying here is be the leader, be the man, be the adult that you're supposed to be. That you're supposed to be, that you can be. You can choose into and be that man. And I'll end this on my note on one thing I heard. I don't know if you know who Eric Thomas is, E.T., the hip hop preacher. He's a guy who was introduced to me a long time ago by one of my staff members. And I remember one of the things that he's a big guy. I remember one of the things that he's talking about is he went to get his wife something, or he was vacuuming his house, and one of his boys came over and he said, man, E.T., you're whipped. Man, you're just whipped. Here you are vacuuming. You have a nice house, but here you are vacuuming it, what have you. Your wife should be doing this. And he pauses, Tim, and he looks at his friend and says, damn right I'm whipped. I love that.
Yeah.
I would do everything for her. I love her, and I like a clean house. And it was really, he goes into a whole diet, which I can't reproduce, but it was a really powerful thing. And what he basically was saying is, why wouldn't you do something for people that you love? I'm a man, I'm here taking care of what I do. And I love this woman. And so I protect her, I take care of her, but also I do the things for our family to make sure that we're in the best position possible. And if that means vacuuming, then friggin' vacuum. It's just a vacuum. Keep your own domain, your own castle as clean as possible, right?
Yeah, and the reality is you can be whipped and stand your ground. It's not like, hey, I'm whipped and I'm a walkover. No, I'm whipped because, I honor her and I stand my ground when I need to. Simple as.
Simple as. Well, Tim, that's it for us for this episode. Any parting words for the men?
So applications for the cleaning job, if you want to submit them to support@thepowerfulman.com. If you just want to include any of your experience and
I love it.
Fine words.
Guys, just so you know, we're about off to an alpha reset here in a little bit. And guys will be paying any amount of money to spend some time with Tim as a coach and help him get his life. So it's a huge job. I know you're messing around though. Well, gentlemen, that's it for us. Hopefully you've tidied up your room and picked up your clothes. And if you're not, you're looking around your car and getting rid of the French fries that fell between the seats and the old McDonald's cups that are on the ground or what have you. And it's time to step up. It's time to be a man. It starts with just picking up your clothes. It's just one small thing. It's kind of like making your bed in the morning. Do the small things first. They snowball into the big things over time. That's it for us today. Another episode in lock, and we'll see you over in the Facebook group, The Activation Method. And until then, have an amazing day, guys, and we'll see you in the next episode.